Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Nealon. Our top story tonight, it appears congratulations are in order. We are monitoring things closely as details continue to come in, but it seems, yes, I have confirmation. We're talking about you, Joseph. Congratulations. You really outdid yourself this time, which probably wasn't that hard. Our team has discovered footage from one of the many celebrations taking place in your honor. Stay away from drugs, kids. Now for some deeper analysis, let's go live via satellite to our special guest commentator, Other Kevin. Other Kevin, what are your thoughts on all this? Speechless, Kevin. Wow. Just wow. Insightful as always. Thank you. Well, I'm now being told that we are out of time and that I should pull this lever. I'm Kevin Nealon. Thanks for watching. Take care, Jimmy. Thanks, Bob.
Hey, listen up, y'all. I'm going to shout out this young gun right here because he's trying to do his thing. Joseph Jaffe, not famous. Probably rightfully so, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm famous because, he not famous. And he like, yo, let me call my famous friends and see if they'll shout me out and make me more famous, sir. Right? But so, Joseph Jaffe, man, it's cool. You got your late night talk show popping off. That's what's dope. Streaming, been doing your thing, man. Started this in March of the 2020, which is, tough throughout the years, but booking great guests, man. Jamal Mashboard, James Rollins, steady building it, man. Keep it popping off, man. Keep building your brand, man. Believe in yourself. Keep going hard, all right? That's what it's all about. One of these days, this little acronym of yours, not famous, is not going to be true. People going to see you in the mall and be like, I know who you is. Them going to be your cousins saying it all incorrect like that. But you know what I'm saying? You know what you going to do. What you going to do? They family. All right, bro. I'll holler.
There was one guy I was dealing with getting a little bit pissy over the kid interrupting the call thing, and I'm like, Cheerio! Appreciate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, please. Yeah.
My bad. Please continue. It's very alliterative.
They are going to be the ones powering the experiences that every customer has.
Preference has power. I'm pretty sure Kato would say to me when I do every show, stop.
I think he would.
Those pieces are popping. Wait till you get the invoice.
Here. I have a question. When's the last time you danced? When's the last time you laughed?
Right now. I don't want to dance with you.
When's the last time you flew a kite?
Toasted Oreo.
Look at you. You are insane.
How did I do that?
You're insane. You're insane.
Yes. What is the right music to start off? Doug, can you hear me? Am I back? Can you hear me in all my glory? Well, if you can, you'd be hearing some nice Irish music. And why not? Because Doug Gordon, my very special guest today, is joining me all the way from beautiful Ireland. He says he can't hear me. The question is, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because one show this week, and we're going to make it count. We're going to figure out why you can't hear me, but these are the joys of technology. Now, earlier, we were talking about a little bit of Ali G, a little bit of Borat impersonations. I will not do that. Maybe I will do that. It all depends how badly you want it. But, I'm excited to do one show this week. Next week, Ramon Ray is on Monday. And then I'm on the road. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the Association of National Advertisers Masters of Marketing Conference in Orlando, Florida. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a show live. Maybe I'll find a chief marketing officer or two and pull them into the show. It should be kind of fun. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. But Now, let's get on with the show. So a couple of things to tell you about. I'm playing around with subscriptions. Instagram now has a subscription option, and for 99 cents a month, all your money back. No, there's no money back guarantee, but for 99 cents a month, you're going to have an opportunity to actually hear from my guests. Now, we're going to do some pretty cool stuff. Number one, Doug and I just did a little pre-show on Instagram, and those video clips are going to move over eventually to subscriber only. In addition, you're going to get 1 minute highlight clips of every one of my guests, but you're also going to get extended footage. This is just the 1 minute clip from Lauren Turton called FOMO, JOMO, and JOMU.
That's one thing in the space that I don't align with is the FOMO aspect. And the way that I've really been able to flip that is with JOMO, joy of missing out, truly knowing and understanding that you are where you're meant to be.
I'd like to introduce the new term today, inspired by you. Instead of JOMO, I'm going to come up with JOMU, which is the joy of messing up, because God knows I have made so many mistakes. I cannot even open up my MetaMask these days. But can you see the joy on my face? I'm crying on the inside, but outside I'm joyous. So the joy of messing up.
Because it's not actually messing up. You're failing forward.
Right.
You're learning, being really comfortable with being uncomfortable. Ooh, that's another good one right there.
Well, we might just have JOMU today when we determine whether Doug can hear me or not. He said it was working and then it wasn't working. And so this is my opportunity of, I'm talking to Doug, but am I talking to Doug to say, sometimes you have to be joyous about messing up. So sometimes, for example, the speaker's not working. So maybe you might just choose to quit out of StreamYard and then come back in again, or potentially even reboot your computer. Now, it's not like I'm talking to my guest who just quit StreamYard right now, but the point is you have to roll with the punches. You have to be able to kind of forgive yourself and give yourself grace, because life is too short. Now, we're going to talk about success without stress. How do you get there? Is that the meaning of life? Is it the meaning of life to be able to become successful without stress? I mean, I can tell you that the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is to be a builder in Web3, to launch Alpha Collective. But it gives me joy. It gives me joy in building. It gives me joy in trying to figure out what comes next. You know, the mission behind Alpha Collective is to help onboard the next billion wallets. I'm not sure that I would have had this mission a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. In a way, the delay that might have come from trying to figure out how to launch a collection in a recession, in a global recession, in the ability, in crypto winter. Sometimes good things come to those who wait. And there is joy in that patience as well. There is sometimes joy in the stress. There is joy in the anxiety as well, if you recognize that it is part of this necessary experience, the game of life. It is a game, and games are fun, are they not? Now, one of the things we do in Alpha Collective is we have a virtual coffee Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, discord.gg/Alpha Collective. And in the Collective Cafe on a Thursday, which is today, we're actually doing a live read of a book, not just a book, but my book. It's going to change. It's not always going to be my book, but we're actually reading this book that was written 18 years ago, determining what is still true, what is not, what came true, what didn't come true, what might still come true. It's a beautiful retrospective, and to a degree, an introspective as well. So come and join us in the Collective Cafe Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. And now it is time for the seated soliloquy. And today's seated soliloquy is very much focused on exactly what we've been talking about today. Whether it's Jomo, whether it's Jomu, whether it's, I don't know, you determine exactly what the acronym stands for. But I'm going to tell you, Alfred E. Newman, he said, "What me worry?" And he had a beautiful gap between his teeth. And I've always had a beautiful little connection to Mad Magazine because, you know, a lot of the cartoons were drawn by, I think it was L. Jaffe. And my brother, by the way, is L. Jaffe as well. So who knows? There's a Jaffe connection. Now, I just want to share one thought in the soliloquy today, which is something that my kids roll their eyes, and I've mentioned this in the soliloquy before, which is if you're not going to worry about it in 5 years' time, don't waste more than the next 5 minutes worrying about it now. And I've said this to them so many times, and they hate it. They hate it because when you're in the moment, when you're in the stress, when you're in the anxiety, especially if you're a kid, you can't think about anything else. In fact, your whole world is crashing down. Somebody blocked you. Somebody unfriended you. Somebody didn't tag you. In the moment, your entire world is those 5 minutes. But you have to be able to look beyond. You have to recognize that stress is a part of life. Anxiety is a part of life. Sometimes medication helps. There's nothing wrong with medication. I'm on medication. Never thought I would be, but it changed my life. When suddenly I was able to get rid of all the worrying. And, you know, in those 5 minutes, just wallow in it and experience it and immerse yourself in it. And for 5 minutes, maybe worry like it is the end of the world. But then stand up, step up, move on, and be able to move forward. And so that is the test. That is the test of stress. It is the stress test. Poor Doug is in the background. He's saying, I give up. Doug, you don't need to give up. You can reboot your computer and try one more time. It's worth it. And in a way, in many respects, this is exactly what the whole soliloquy is about. So I'll type it to him and I'll say, reboot. Maybe you can't hear me, your computer. In many respects, a lot of this even happened. Why? Because we went on Instagram. We tried something different. And you could look back on this, and I'll do a little bit of riffing now because this is part of the whole lesson. This is part of the whole experience. The riffing component is not really riffing. It's just talking from the heart, which is to be able to say that, you know, ultimately you have to prepare for these moments. We've been talking about in doing the live read on Life After the 30-Second Spot. We've been talking about the fact that in many respects, what is the best thing that can happen to you in business as a marketer? And what is the worst thing? And in some cases, and here's the crazy thing, the best thing is the worst thing. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is your website crashing, your app crashing. Coinbase with their QR code in the Super Bowl spot. Guess what happened? Their app crashed. Why is it the worst thing? Because your app crashed. You just spent $6.5 million, maybe more, production. Well, unfortunately for them, there was no production cost. It was just a little QR code Pong-like graphic or a looping visual. But you want to make it count. How many people didn't come to Coinbase's website? One, maybe zero, but probably more than one because it crashed. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. I mean, if it's a million, that's not a good thing. Why is it a good thing? Because your website crashed. You did so well. You had so much demand, you intrigued people so much that they ended up crashing your website. So sometimes the best thing is the worst thing. The worst thing is the best thing. Best thing. Now, you can anticipate, you can plan, but sometimes you can't plan for something that, like, hello, the last 2.5 years. Can't plan for it at all. So one of the things that I teach in my strategic communications course is expect the unexpected. That is, in fact, the primary rule of issues management, and to a degree, crisis management as well. The thing about crisis management is you can't really, I mean, you can, to a degree, plan for a crisis, but by definition, a crisis is something that, if it was planned for, it wouldn't really be a crisis, because maybe you could have avoided it. Maybe you could have prevented it from escalating, etc. So you plan for the unplanned, you expect the unexpected. And at the end of the day, when people look back on the moment, they don't see Doug giving up. What they see is that Doug didn't give up, and he came back when we needed him most. Doug Gordon is a 4 times award-winning CEO, international speaker, trainer, coach, consultant, healer, and radio presenter. Healer? Did I type that right? Now I want to ask him about being a healer. You healed me, Doug. He has a new book coming out to join his existing 3 New York Times bestsellers. Please, God, let me welcome Doug Gordon. Doug, tell me you can hear me.
How you doing?
We did it.
It's gone quiet again. I can't hear you again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just joking. No, has it really gone quiet? Has it really gone quiet? No, I'm not taking the piss.
I can't hear you.
No, I don't know what's happened. We can see you, Doug. So now the question comes down to, I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do, I mean, this is going to be an absolute lesson in resilience. I'm going to do a thing called invite, and I am going to, in the comments, I know Glenn is watching as well. He said, write to him. Well, Glenn, I tell you what, my friend, why don't you come on the show? Let's see if the problem is on Doug's side or if the problem is on my side. It could very well be on my side. So Glenn, I think you can hear me. Come and make a little cameo on the show. So Glenn said, write to him. Sure, I could do that. We're just riffing and having a good time. So Doug, do not despair. It's okay. Did you reboot? Did you reboot? He did. And so, yeah, it happens. It's one of the reasons. And the funny thing is, it worked fine when we did our little pre-check as well. So he said, send an invite. I just put the invite in the comments, Glenn. All right, how do I send Glenn an invite? I'm going to do this quickly. Don't worry about it. We're going to figure this out. All right, that was fun. Glenn, I just sent you an invite to your Facebook. Now he wants me to email him. Stop making me work so damn hard for you. Just come on the show. Yes, reboot again. Reboot again. So what you're watching is in real time, someone trying to figure out, do we end the show or do we welcome someone trying Glenn? To figure out, do we end the show? Now I'm hearing an echo. Do we welcome someone trying Glenn? To figure out, do we end the show? Hey, Glenn.
I can hear you now.
Oh, you got him.
Hold on.
No,
wait a second.
Now you've gone. Now you've gone again.
Glenn, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Now we've got two Glens.
I hear you. Oh.
The reason why is there's an echo. You have me on two. How about now, Glenn?
No, wait.
So now Glenn, who is on his, I'm going to go ahead and remove him from the one studio. I mean, it's all happening. Try now, Glenn. Is that better?
Just a second. Hold on.
So I can hear Glenn. But then it goes every time I come back to see you. It goes again.
It's crazy. And I'm
starting to think that there's a joke going on here, and I'm the butt of it.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm the butt of it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Glenn, but I can't hear Joseph.
Oh, okay. I'll interpret.
Glenn, can you hear me?
I hear Joe.
All right.
Well, so I don't hear Joe.
So what we've ascertained right now.
Who are you, Glenn? Oh, sorry, I don't know you.
I'm just a lurker. I've been for a couple of years.
So during the start of this little adventure in March of 2020,
during the start of this adventure in 2020,
Glenn became a regular on the show.
Became a regular on the show.
He would watch every day.
I'd watch every day.
And then we would have a Zoom after show, which was pretty awesome.
And have a Zoom after show, which I have come to really miss.
Please do not be creative here in editorial license.
I won't editorialize.
Heidi Furman is watching and laughing at us. She's not laughing with us. She's laughing at us. Now, one of the things that happened is that this Zoom after show became like a support group.
The Zoom after show became a support group.
And to be honest with you, I miss a lot of the people who faded. I wonder where they are, and I hope they're okay.
He misses the people who are part of that support group and wonders where they are and where they've gone. Like Joey.
Yeah. Well, and most importantly, that they're healthy, that they're happy, and that they're successful.
He's hoping they're healthy, happy, and successful.
Now tell Doug.
Okay.
I have an idea. Tell Doug to call back on his mobile phone, which is what I should have done before.
Right. That's what I recommended. Doug, call on your phone and he will pull you in through his mixer. And I will Go basically to the StreamYard link.
Let's see if that works.
Oh, StreamYard link. Sorry, Doug.
So in other words, he's going to be using video on his phone.
Video on your phone.
Just about to do that.
Okay, and then I'm going to drop out as soon as the two of you are together.
It's about time I had you on the show because you're a super fan too.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I use StreamYard and all these things.
And by the way,
Go ahead.
Not yet. Oh, no, sorry. What I was actually going to do is that. Where are you in the world, by the way? Because how many countries have you been to now, Glenn?
117. And I am at my home on the water in Maryland.
All right. Guess who we got here? Doug Gordon, who is muted at the moment. and just unmute on your phone. Doug Gordon.
Shit, what's that?
What we want is this, my friend. Hang on. There we go. I just kicked you. Now, Doug Gordon.
How you doing? You can actually hear me now, can you?
Drop me.
I am fucking with you there. Okay. So, all right. Watch this. In an amazing test of resilience, we are going to do this, and we're going to say, and now it's time for my very special guest, Doug Gordon. Now, Doug is a 4 times award-winning CEO, international speaker, trainer, coach, consultant, healer, IT professional, and radio presenter. He has a new book coming out to join his existing 3 New York Times bestsellers. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Doug Gordon.
Joseph, we made it at last.
You know what? We were always blessed and also cursed for this show to be a special one, based on the fact that you canceled twice, I canceled once, and then who the hell knows what just transpired with respect to IT?
I have no idea. I could hear your colleague. I couldn't hear you. And then I was off and on. Yeah, bloody awful. There we go.
Yeah, so Haiti is here and she says, yay. And Glenn said he made it. Now Glenn is, you know what's so unbelievable for me, and this is unbelievable, is Glenn went from being a viewer to on the show back to a viewer. And this is exactly why, in trying to reinvent the talk show in the streaming era, I believe it has to be live. It has to be live, because with all the things going on, this is success without the stress. It could have been success with the stress, but it ended up actually being success without the stress. It validates you, Doug.
It certainly made me laugh anyway. I have to say.
Yeah, you're saying, I don't know about the success part, but okay, Joe, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So now we have Doug Gordon in the house. You know, I'll tell you just another little anecdote is, for anyone doing this kind of thing, you need to almost have like a little list of things that have gone wrong in the past and things that could go wrong. And in the moment, what I should have immediately have done, I went through the cycles. I said, go out, come back in, reboot. And what I should have just done is, boom, go straight to your mobile phone. But we actually had Glenn that helped us. And I kind of feel like it worked out maybe even a little bit better. And of course, the beauty of the space in a content world, Doug, is when you go and you clip elements of this and you use this and you revise it or etc., no one's even going to know the difference. We hope.
Well, or it'll probably be the most comedy-like show they've ever seen before, from some guy trying to work out what on earth's going on. But brilliant. Anyway, I loved it. I was actually laughing. It was great fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and it almost feels like going into fun facts about Doug Gordon now, who is guest number 407 and the last guest ever to appear on the show. We went and found out some fun facts about him when he's not actually troubleshooting for streaming talk shows. Doug, we found out that you can walk on your hands, and so. My question to you is, why would anybody want to walk on their hands? And then why would anyone want to share the fact that they can walk on their hands?
Well, Joseph, I'm 50 almost, right? So there's not many people who can still walk on their hands at 50 years of age. And I've got 2 kids. They're always amused by it. So it's a lot of the time it's for the kids more than just me. But I have to say, it used to be my party trick when I was going into parties and stuff like that. And I was a gymnast actually when I was younger, so I actually used to be able to do backflips and somersaults, but I wouldn't attempt them now at my age. But I have to say, yeah, it's purely for fun, mainly for the kids, but on occasions when I've had a few drinks, it's to show off.
So I have 2 critical questions that the world wants to know. Number one is how far can you walk on your hands at any given point in time?
Do you know what? I haven't tested it for a while, but when I was mid-20s, maybe even 30, I could do to the end of a tennis court and back. So that was back then, but I was very fit then, whereas now I wouldn't be quite as fit as I was when I was 28. So I'd say now I could probably walk, I don't know, maybe 10 meters, 15 meters, 20 meters. Don't know. I'd have to test it out.
Glenn says that his wife can still do it at 65. So there you go. You still have a few good years left in you.
Wow.
Now, my second question, which of course is the real question, it's the would you rather question, which I feel like we know the answer to. Would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands?
Would I rather have hands for feet or feet for hands? I don't know. I'm guessing hands for feet.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Because we know that you can walk on them, and now you have 4 of them. And can you imagine what you would be able to do? You might be able to log on a mobile phone and reboot your computer, and call someone in from the next door. You might be able to do 4 different things. So, there we go.
Absolutely.
All right. So now another fun fact about this man is that he once did 50 dates in 5 months, meeting all of them face to face. And so we actually have a clip of his very famous movie that he made with Drew Barrymore. She was not one of the 50, I believe. But tell us about 50 dates in 5 months. How did that work? How did that work out? Is one of those 50 dates now currently married to you?
I do have a young lady, yes, who I've been going out with for 1.5 years now. But so 2020 hit. I was going out with a beautiful girl, been going out with her for 2 years and 2 months to the day, in fact, to the actual day. And unfortunately, we went our separate ways. I was massively in love with her. Spent a few months, in the doldrums, upset and, feeling very down and everything like that. And my daughter came up to me and she said, "Dad, you need to get out there. You need to have some fun." So she took me out. We got some clothes, tarted myself up, went on a few of the apps, and started meeting lots of lovely ladies. But, I think I met some beautiful girls, but I didn't meet the one. So I just kept going until I met the one. And I think part of it as well during that 50 dates was I was trying to date my way out of the pain of losing my ex-girlfriend, and it didn't work. And then eventually I went away and did a 5-day silent retreat, did a bit of emotional intelligence awareness exercise to claim back some of the things that I saw in her that I maybe didn't like looking at in my own self. And once I'd done that, I rewrote a list then of everything I wanted in a woman. And hey presto, within less than a month, my current partner appeared in my life.
It's a beautiful story, and there's an interesting little analogy here of this idea of date your way out of the pain, which I guess would become almost like a metaphor for the fact that sometimes you have to be able to enjoy the pain, right? I spoke about this idea of the stress. Even if the anxiety and the stress is 5 minutes, wallow in it, experience it, kind of let it overcome and even suffocate you, but not to the extreme. And so sometimes, as the old analogy goes, when digging oneself into a hole, the best thing to do is to stop digging. So I wonder how you would take that interpretation or metaphor and apply it to life, to business, the concept of dating your way out of the pain.
Yeah, well, funny enough, actually, Joseph, I was coaching someone today who had gone through terrible childhood trauma, and it was affecting them in terms of their own work because they were getting triggered in certain interactions they were having within the office. And I think it's so important that, we do sometimes have things that remind us of maybe some kind of parental program or something that happened in childhood that actually triggered us and is still a suppressed emotion within. And I think I always say your vibe is your tribe, right? So if you are still holding on to some kind of emotions that are stuck within, you're going to keep attracting the same kind of people and compete and continue to repeat the same kind of thing. And that's why it's interesting. I always say the word partner and the word parent have the same letters, except there's an extra R in partner. So it's almost like you replaying the parent relationship again and again and again until you heal what's ever in. And because I knew that, I thought to myself, you know what? I need to heal what's in me before I go out and try and find a new partner. So eventually I did that again and again and again, and then I found who I am with now.
Okay, so now I'm trying to like PARTNER. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So partner and parent. Where is the leave the extra S off for savings? No, wait, that's 1-800 dial a mattress. But it is interesting, and of course, one thing that I learned. I'm not a psychologist, nor do I pay one. I definitely pay them, but I don't play one on TV. Is the fact that I once learned about the 3 roles that we have, or personas, right? There's the parent, the teacher, and the child. And I think in any partnership, there cannot be a parent and a child relationship, or even one parent. You truly, I'm not sure that you need to be any of them other than a partner.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing. A lot of people don't realize that they hold on to these traits and they go into a relationship, and they actually, because they have them in their kind of like energy, they attract, someone similar to themselves as well. And what I do with a lot of people, including my own self, was actually had a look at, what were my self-aware triggers, traumas, and parental programs was I playing? And then also, I truly believe that people come into your lives generally mirror back areas that need to self-improve on yourself. And actually, it's interesting. I do a lot of relationship type stuff. And quite often the people would come in and say to me, oh, my ex, right narcissist. Or they said their ex-boss was a right narcissist. And I said, really, did you love them at all? And they said, yeah, for 10 years I loved them. And they were miraculously turned into a narcissist in the last year. And I was like, okay, well, just maybe the word narcissist is slightly overused and could mean, in an acronym, neglected awareness, reflecting conditionings in suppressed self, instigating soul transition. And what I mean by that is sometimes the hardest people that come into your lives are actually the ones that help you grow the most and release those suppressed emotions, so that next time you can create love rather than a lesson. So sometimes in that respect, I think that can be, come into play. And in the respect that with my own self, I was basically replaying my father relationship with a lot of my partners until I had the awareness, because without the awareness, you can't change. And then you also have to accept it's in you, because if you don't accept, I can tell you, like, Joffy, your fart smell. And if you don't accept that and start eating different stuff, you're going to continue. So
No, I think you're right. I'm just saying.
So it's very important to have that awareness and acceptance, so that you can then implement change. So that's what I do. And I always say, look, put your self-aware views down, your mirrored views in terms of the people, maybe choose 5 people in your life, look at all their traits you don't like about them or they self-sabotage themselves with, and then phone a friend like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and ask them what they think as well. And then you can get a good comprehensive list of areas that you can self-improve on.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you know what? First of all, for people that are watching and that stuck around, we move from comedy to drama to self-help. This is basically like an entire life of programming in 1 hour. But it's true. And then I was going to say something to you, then I completely lost my train of thought. Go back. What did we just say like about 42 seconds ago? Because I really wanted to tell you something about it.
Okay, so basically what I was saying is that if you can have a
I was rewinding.
So we're going to have a comprehensive list of your self-aware views, your mirror views, your phone a friend views. Then you've got a good in terms of where
you did it. You did it. I'm triggering myself now. When my kids applied for college, they have to write essays. And I got a piece of advice given to me by a consultant, by an advisor, that said, when they write their admission essay, you want to take that essay and you want to let 2 people review that essay. Number 1 is someone who doesn't know them at all. And then someone who knows them extremely well. Now, the person that knows them extremely well should be able to look at that and say, yes, that absolutely accurately portrays who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses. I feel like this was an authentic representation of who you are and what you bring to the table. And the person who doesn't know you at all should be able to interpret as well and be able to define the soul, the heart, the energy of that person as well. And I think that's kind of what I picked up from what you were saying, which is the ability to check ourselves by always, having two different perspectives, I guess, other than ours.
100%, because a lot of people don't see what's in themselves, and they need somebody else to tell them. And I remember, I asking my dad, I said to him, I said, look, will you be that third person? And he said, well, you better bring a big pad. And literally, when I turned up and scribbling down 100 different things on there that he went through, and obviously some of the stuff is reflecting back to him as well. But it was a really good exercise to do. And actually, by doing that as well, it actually helped our relationship a bit as well, because he was able to, if there's anything that was slightly bugging him about me, he was able to tell me. And so I think it's a good exercise you can do. And, I've done it with a few people now, both myself and others. And actually, it's very good when you're doing it, once you have that list, is to actually stand in front of a coach like myself or something like that and actually say them out loud, like as if you're an alcoholic. So almost would say, at times I'm an alcoholic and I accept that and I'm willing to change. So what I would do is I'd say, at times I am maybe egotistical and I accept that and I'm willing to change. At times I don't actively listen enough, or I leave my underpants on the floor, or leave the toilet seat up, or something like that. And I accept that and I'm willing to change. And basically, by voicing it out loud, you're showing accountability to the person you're with, but also your own subconscious. And then once you've done that, and you've shown the awareness and the acceptance as well, then I always say, rip the piece of paper up, throw it in the bin, blow it up, whatever you need to do, and then rewrite the list in I am positive opposites. So I am always listening with love. I'm always putting this toilet seat down. I'm always picking up my underpants, whatever it might be, so that you are, creating that kind of seeding the subconscious, creating neuroplasticity within the brain, and then hopefully creating a new pattern in the way you act and think, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and I love the if then, the yin yang of that, or the syntax of that structure. At times ... It's like a Mad Lib, right? At times ... and I'm willing to change. What I love about that structure is at times it's weird. It just makes me think of the most interesting man in the world, right? The beer commercial where he says, I don't always, but when I do, I prefer Modelo, right? Maybe it was Dos Equis, but still, I don't always, I apologize to the most interesting man in the world. I don't always drink beer. So there's a concession, there's a humility, there's an honesty that says, hey, listen, if I said I'm the biggest beer drinker in the world and I always drink Dos Equis, I apologize to Modelo, I apologize to Dos Equis, right? But it's this idea, at times, I might have in my past left the toilet seat down. Mm-hmm. I might have sometimes maybe had one drink too many and maybe been a little bit, short-tempered or abrupt. Or an arsehole, maybe once, twice, and I'm willing to change. That shows openness and the ability to evolve. It sounds so easy, but I'm sure it's really, really hard, though, to get to that place.
100%, and that's why I say to people, it's like going to the gym. You can't just once you've done the ripping up bit, and I do it like a ceremony so that people can feel as if they're really achieving something. But then it's really important to make sure that you do those affirmations in terms of the positive ones on a daily basis, even preferably twice a day, once when you wake up. And also really good to do them just before you go to sleep, when you're in that kind of theta stage, where you're just about to go into that sleep stage. It's a brilliant way of doing it. And then if you do that regularly for a minimum of 21 days, but preferably 60 days, that way you can seed the subconscious. Because it's like going to the gym. You can't just go to the gym and just pump for one day and expect to have muscles. You need to go consistently. And that's why the consistent speaking to the subconscious is almost like self-hypnosis and positive affirmations to be able to create that thought pattern within your brain.
For a lot of people, they would almost talk about the idea of manifestations and self-affirmations as woo-woo, in terms of being able to actually convince yourself. And I've spoken to enough people in 407 interviews, none as memorable as this one, Mr. Doug Gordon, 407th guest, but to understand the power of it. What can you tell people, and what would you bring to the table to help them get beyond, just get out of their own way and start to talk to themselves and start to actually kind of recognize that the most important person in their life, not a narcissist, in a narcissistic way, is themselves, in terms of being able to have a voice, listen to the voice, drown out the other voice, and move forward.
Sure, Joe. So let's face it, like, you're the person who talk to yourself the most, right? Sometimes it can be the most intelligent conversation you actually have. So you might as well make it positive as well. And I always say that the sentences we say are sometimes the sentences we condemn ourselves and others to. Or the other thing I say is your word is your wand. And I'm going to give you actually some real life examples that have actually happened in my life that prove that. So firstly, my mum said to me when I was 16 years of age, Doug, make sure you put your coat on, otherwise you might catch pneumonia. I caught pneumonia. My dad said I was a pain in the arse. I had 2 operations there. He said I was a pain in the back. I broke my back. He said I was a pain in the neck. I knocked a vertebra out of place in my neck. So you need to be very careful about what you say. And actually, it's quite funny. I had a situation where I was in with my previous girlfriend. I actually I got engaged to her, and I went out and bought a ring. And I came back, and from a place of love, my mum rang me and she said, "Did you get the ring?" I said, "I got the ring." And I said to her, I said, "Mum, the only thing I wish, though, is that she didn't have that big chunky family emblem ring on her middle finger." And I said that from a place of love. So energy in motion, emotion within the heart. And I got back, and no joke, within an hour, my then girlfriend got a rash underneath that middle finger ring. She had to take it off. And the next day I proposed to her. So what that shows again is that really, in terms of manifestation, mixing that in with the words that we're talking about, you really, if you're in a state where you are energetically connected to your own self, there is the power of the word, and you can create things. And I'm sure a lot of people have had that, where even they've been thinking or talking about a friend or a family member they haven't seen in a while, and suddenly they bump into them or get a phone call or something like that. So I truly believe that, everything in life is energy. Thoughts are energy. Speech is energy. Thoughts lead to speech. Speech leads to actions. Actions leads to habits. And habits leads to destiny. So start with a positive thought and end with a positive destiny.
Okay, so I want to use that phrase, energetically connected, because that seems the conditional phrase.
Mm-hmm.
So I've spoken about manifesting that this show, basically not after today's production issues, but that this show will end up on CNBC or HBO or Hulu or Netflix. See, I'm saying all the words, or Cheddar, etc. How do you move from just being able to, a pipe dream, or maybe a bit of delusion? How do you turn that? How do you focus that energy? How do you transform that energy? How do you build, and just, it's almost like imagine like it's a fireball, and then just whoosh, unleashing it on the world. How do I do that for myself, or for this show, for something that every fiber of my being is about being able to find a home for the show? And that's about as like transparent and vulnerable as I could be, because, it's also not the first time that I've shared that, but that's what I want more than anything in the world.
Yeah. And I have to say that I've been interviewed by a lot of people, and you've got such a good character, and you've made me laugh more than anybody else I've actually been on the show so far.
It's all fake. It's all fake. I'm actually from Ireland. No, I'm kidding.
So what I would say is, the first thing to do, like, if you wanted to manifest, if you want to make something happen, I always say where focus goes, energy flows. So if you can actually do it with somebody else, it's even better. And even, I'm not a biblical man, but it does say in the Bible, where there's 2 or more in faith, God will be there. Now, I don't believe God is a man, and we're not going to get into religion or anything like that, but I do believe in energy. And I believe in terms of, you can create through energy. So what I would suggest, if you were my client, for example, is that we would put some affirmations together. I am grateful statements, as if they've already happened. And I actually like specifically to put the name in there as well. So I would say, because some people say, I am grateful that I'm a best-selling author, and they become a best-selling author for a week because they buy all their own books and they tweak the Amazon system, and that's it. Whereas I would say to people, you need to be very specific. And I would say more something like this. So I'd say, I am grateful that I'm a best-selling author, having sold 100 million copies of my book to touch 100 million hearts and change lives in a positive way. And I'm being paid for it. And it's done by, let's say, July 2024. And what I've done there is, one, I've done my I am grateful. Sorry, I'd also add in, actually, Joseph, I'd add in that I am grateful that I, Douglas Gordon, am a best-selling author, having sold 100 million copies of my book to touch 100 million hearts and change lives for the better by July 2024. And I'll tell you why I put my name in there as well, because having had a near-death experience, I believe that we come back to this planet again and again and again to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. So if you were talking to a little genie angel next to you and you're saying, I am grateful, it might be in your next life. So why not make it very specific to this lifetime as well? So that's why I added in my name there as well. Secondly, we don't want to be selfish about our own self. I also think we should truly make our wishes, our dreams, and everything in life we're trying to manifest about others and adding value to them as well. So I actually had Steve Jobs's executive coach when he was alive on my show. And he told me that he wrote the book with the intention of trying to get on stages and sell lots of books. He didn't sell any. He then reread the book about 10 years later, realized he had a son who was about to go in the executive world. He thought to himself, if this book could help just my son, maybe it could help somebody else as well. Put it out there with that intention, that energy. He became a New York Times bestseller with no tweaks, no payments, nothing like that. And then he was brought on stages and Steve Jobs read his book and brought him in. So why I'm saying this is to really come from the place where you're trying to add value to people rather than trying to make money or something selfish for yourself. And when you do that and add that into your manifestation, the universe sees it, makes it stronger, and the collective consciousness will help in terms of energy, make it happen. And also,
they're standing already, and there's wait, be quiet. There's an and also.
Well, I was just going to say, and also, why not? I also had Tasia Valence, who was in Star Wars, on my show, and she told me that she did a vision board, and on her vision board, she had a house, which she saw in the neighborhood of Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, wherever she lives, I can't remember. And she put the house on there 10 years before they actually moved into that very house as well. So put a vision board together and add that into your I'm grateful statement. Do it with somebody else, manifest it with somebody else, visualize it as well. Get into the energy of it as well. Go into your heart space, get the energy and motion going. Quite often what I do actually, Joseph, as well, is I get in a cold shower every morning, and my girlfriend will tell you, she laughs. And when that coldness is coming on me, then I'll go, I am grateful that I'm a best-selling author, having sold 100 million copies of my book to touch 100 million hearts, and that way, because the emotion when you're sitting in the freezing or standing in the freezing water, it gets going a lot more as well. So it's a bit more powerful. And I've had it happen. Even I remember there was a Euro Millions, as in the lottery. I think it was 50 million. It was on 50 million. I got in the shower and said that I am grateful that I'm going to win 50 million euros today. And I didn't win 50 million euros, but I went to the park with my girlfriend and walked over a 50 euro note that was randomly in the grass and picked up. We had lunch with it. So, you've got to be very specific as well and be very, very much coming from a state of not thinking, not believing, but knowing. Because if I was to ask your name, Joseph, do you think your name is Joseph? Do you believe your name is Joseph? Or do you just know your name is Joseph? So you have to get into that absolute state of knowing, and then the energy will come to you rather than just a slight belief and a hope, if that makes sense.
It makes so much sense. And let me tell you, tomorrow morning, I am going to start off by, first of all, saying I'm grateful for hot water. And then I'm going to say, Douglas Gordon. That's how I'm going to get there. I am going to be Douglas Gordon. I'm going to be a talk show. No, I love it. And the concept of I know. Now, I know has two very interesting. By the way, this is the first in 407 interviews where I haven't even gone beyond the fun facts, because the next fun fact was that you had a near-death experience. And let me tell you, I think your near-death experience was coming on the show. So you're going to have to tell us about this near-death experience another time. But the I know. So the I know, there is a fine line between the delusion, between the, believing your own madness, your own lies, your own dog food, right? And something else. And I would love for you to, I think you know where that line is, or at least you know that there is a line. Maybe you don't know where the line is. And that's the whole point. I know I am going to find a home for the show. I know the show will be the daily show for business. I know this will happen. It's not an if, it's a when. I know that. You can see that I know that. But do I know it?
Yeah.
But and that's the missing link. Or is it?
Well, that's where authenticity comes in, where you're authentic to your own self as well as other people. And you have to ask yourself, are you totally authentic in everything you do? And I've had people on my radio show, and you know, they've had, there's one particular, I'm not going to mention their name, but they have millions and millions of followers on Instagram, and I realized they're all fake because I got about 1,000 likes in an instant, like literally 1 second when I put their post up about them. And you know, I think if we are truly authentic to our own selves, if we're truly coming from that place, but we're also taking inspired action, because you can't just sit there and, you know, dream about it, write it, you know, everything like that. You need to take opportunities. So, for example, I one of my dreams is to be able to build a big healing center and personal development center to help people, because I do healing as well. And you know, based on that premise, I have my dream in my head. I've got my vision in my head. I've written it down. I've, you know, have an actual vision board for it and everything like that. But I have to go out and make it happen. And obviously that can cost maybe 50 million. So I'll give you a few examples of recent stuff that I had. I've met a few people. For example, one guy's worth $500,000. He lives here in Ireland. And I met him randomly. And he said to me the other day, I heard about your vision in the newspaper that you want to do a healing center. I've got some land over the other coast of Ireland. Let's take my helicopter. I'll go and show it to you and everything like that. You know, so that's one opportunity. And then another opportunity is I met the Chinese European president of the Business Association, and you know, he basically he said, look, I've got loads of Chinese guys who are trying to get residency over in Ireland. They're looking to invest in a good project. It sounds like you've got a great project. Maybe I can help you. And I said, well, you know, it could be expensive, like 50 million. He goes, oh, that's no worries for it. So there's two opportunities that happened. Now, am I ready to do it? No. Have I really pushed it and followed it? No. But I am going down in the helicopter next week to have a look at the man's land. And the Chinese guy and I have been working together in terms of selling some airplanes. We're selling some 737-800 airplanes at the moment as well. So, you know, who knows where that might go. So all I say is make sure you get out there, make sure you meet people, network with people, communicate with people, and put yourself in the position with people to create these opportunities. Because let's face it, if you sit at home, do nothing, you're not going to create it. Whereas I say to people, if you're going into town, you're going to have a coffee. Why go into Starbucks when you can go into the best, poshest hotel in town, sit in the lounge, have the coffee there, maybe pay an extra $5? You never know who you could be sitting next to. Same in terms of flying business class. I fly business class sometimes across to London, not because I'm big, I'm only 5'8", not because I'm flash, because I know that I have potentially two people sitting either side of me who could be CEOs and could be potential clients or potential new friends to collaborate with. And I've had that happen, and I've been actually paid. I was paid quite a lot of money to go in and speak to a business based on someone I met on a plane.
And it's also the difference between the limiting mindset versus this idea of an abundant mindset. Because I'll give you an example. I'm going to a conference next week. I'm going to a conference next week in Orlando from Tuesday through Friday. And you can go down and you can go there and say, how do I justify the expense and time out the office? And I always flip it and I say, all I have to do in 4 days at this event is make one new friend, one connection, one speaking engagement, one relationship that could become something exceptional, could become a friend. Hell, why do they have to become a client? They could just become a friend. And when you reduce it to something like one, it doesn't sound as scary anymore. And you've actually taken, I believe, the pressure off yourself and flipped it, which is, well, of course I'm capable of actually having one quality conversation. Hell, I mean, I could do that with my eyes closed.
100%. I mean, I'm currently coaching the president of JCI, which was actually originally started off by JFK back in the 60s. JCI is like the junior chamber that's all over the world and everything like that. I'm coaching the president here in Dublin, and I'm coaching her in presentation skills. And, you know, it's not cheap for her, right? But she said to me, Doug, I know that you've told me you get paid X, Y, Z, and I know other people who get paid X, Y, Z. So with this, if this enables me to get even just one gig, I've covered my costs. And I think that's what people need to realize, you know, that you can get on stage and get paid 10, 20, 30 grand. You know, I know people who get paid over 100 grand to speak. In fact, Tony Robbins, when he came over here for 4 hours speaking, he got paid 650 grand. So it just shows you that there is the opportunity there, that if you invest in yourself, it's amazing how the universe might invest in you as well.
It's so powerful and so empowering. And I'll tell you that when I was looking at at what we would talk about, I had no idea that we'd be talking about sound and audio and mobile phones. But I always try and find a quote for my guest. And it was weird because this is the quote I found. It just shows you how things work. A true friend is one who overlooks your failures and tolerates your success. The reason why I think it's funny is because I was looking at quotes on success, and I was looking at quotes on stress, and then I was looking for quotes that spoke about success and stress. And yet this is from Doug Lawson, the one that I just zeroed in was this idea that a friend, maybe that's the accountability partner, Doug. Maybe we could be fast friends or slow friends, or you'd be like, do not ever call me again. But I love that it overlooks your failures and tolerates your success. And there was something so honest about this idea of tolerating our success, about being happy for people, but also sometimes being pissed and jealous and bitter and just like, going through tough times and going, why can't that be me? But the idea of tolerating success of a friend, I found this to be just like really just honest.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I mean, I remember I had a friend who he worked for Goldman Sachs, and he was working back there when I was mid-20s. He was mid-20s. He was earning £1 million a year, and we're talking. Like, I'm 48 now, so I was talking a while ago. And I was a little bit jealous, I have to say. I was doing pretty well, but not as well as him. But he took me out one day, and he said, we were having a few drinks, and he said, Doug, you have a lovely house, and you have the same size TV. You have a car. I have a car. You have a girlfriend. I've got a girlfriend. You seem in love. I'm in love. There's no difference from our life. So I think really, when you look at people with the curse of comparison and comparing you to them, try and keep up with the Joneses, that isn't going to make you happy. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And if you can truly look at yourself in that respect and think that, maybe one part of life is to be able to go through life, look at yourself and learn to grow, to evolve from the experiences you have, and maybe turn your mess into a message and give it meaning, maybe that might help a few people along the way.
I love it. And you mentioned the word love, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, first of all, how much I've loved you being on the show, how much you've tolerated me. But we were discussing earlier about, crazy book ideas, like, for example, the title of this episode, which is Make Love, Make Success, Make Life Matter. And if you're looking really closely, you would realize that in order to make L-O-V-E, to make love, you have to make L-O-V-E. Douglas, what does L-O-V-E stand for?
It stands for lots of vibrant energy. And if you optimize your energy, you're going to optimize your performance in life.
Of course, the beauty of the idea of making success. I think in talking about your new book, because there is a new book coming out, which will no doubt be another bestseller. I like the idea of, for me, make success that's the key phrase there. Like, for example, think different, right? The whole Apple think different. Make success. How do you make success? I think of a cake. I think of a recipe. We know how to achieve success or generate, but make success. It feels like we're creators. We are creators of success. I think you got something going there in terms of make success, because it's different. It makes you think, is it grammatically correct? No, it isn't. There's something different and disruptive there. And I just want to prod you a little bit in the direction to consider that even if it's just a chapter head or it's a little footnote that says, what the hell does Jaffe know? Haiti knows what lots of vibrant energy is. Love that. But what do you think about making success? Was that intentional? Make success?
I actually love that. And the reason being I love that is because I have an acronym for MAKE as well, which is mindset, actions, knowledge, and energy. In other words, if you have the right mindset, and if you take the right actions in terms of business plans, client mapping, activity mapping, and then know your client, know your product, know your industry, and match your client needs to USPs, and get into that state where you love what you do, love the people you work with, love the clients you serve, then you have lots of vibrant energy as well. So that's why the MAKE thing is very apt, I have to say.
Yeah, so I mean, this book, in fact, I think this should be the world's first book that has a different title every month. How about that? A dynamic book where the title keeps changing. Or how about a unnamed? But I mean, but I suppose also, like, life is what you make it or make of it, right? So and what is success? How do we define success? I mean, for God's sake, when we think about the last 2.5 years, You know, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm writing now. I've written the book, and then I've like stalled for a little bit. But the book is we're putting it back on the front burner. It was simmering, and the book is called "Forever Changed: How a Global Pandemic Changed My Direction, My Purpose, and My Life." You know, and in this book, in writing this book, in creating this book, you know, it's just become so obvious, which is what's you know, one of the things I wrote, I said, the business model of life is broken. What do? We make all this money, we hoard this money, we're hoarders of money, you know, and then we die and we either give it away to a cat or to a bunch of ungrateful children that are squabbling and maybe will never talk to each other again because of what they did, their inheritance, which, by the way, doesn't give them the same hunger, the same pain that you and I had when we figured out how the hell are we going to fix this technical issue. And so what I wrote in the book is, in a perfect life, a life well lived, we would die with $1 to our name, because everything we earned, we spent, we invested it, we shared, we helped people, we paid it forward. In a perfect life, we would die with $1 to our name. And by the way, that's also what my bank account is right now, which doesn't mean I'm going to die. I hope it doesn't mean that. But I just wanted to share that with you because I feel like it really speaks to, you know, this idea of how do you define success? How do you, Doug, define success?
Well, for me, success is about being happy, and you know, no amount of money can necessarily make that happen. And let's face it, you know, having good relationships with people, having love with people, having fun with people, and also being able to give to others as well is sometimes one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself. So being able to leave some kind of legacy at the end of your life. And I don't mean legacy in terms of money, because let's face it, when you're 94 years or whatever it is of age, looking back at your life, you're not going to look back how much money you had. You're going to look back at how many hearts you've touched. And that even comes down to simplest things like kisses you give, hugs you hold, and kind words that you pass on. And if you can go out there and give lots of kisses, hugs, and kind words, have lots of friends, have lots of love in your life, do you know what? I'm sure you'll feel pretty successful in life when you part from this world that we live in.
Kisses, hugs, and kind words. Let me tell you, if you were here, I would give you a hug. You might actually punch me, but to be like, I stayed up for this. This is literally the first show that I've done, as I said, that we didn't even get beyond the fun facts for the most part. Believe it or not, we were going to chat about things like, I don't know, we were going to chat about conscious leadership and communication, or business growth and performance hacks in life. But the fact is, I think you can see that Douglas Gordon is the real deal. He is the Coca-Cola of coaches. Coke is it. Gordon is it. I could keep going for the next 5 years, but I won't, because I'm fairly certain you're going to stop hearing me again. You'll be like,
well, Joseph, before you go, one of the things I will say then, in the essence of manifesting for you, I will say that I am very grateful, Joseph, that Joseph Chaffee's podcast or show is on a mainstream TV show, either on CNBC or CBC or whatever you want, so that you can touch more hearts, change more lives, and live a life of love. And it happens, by the way, by the end of next year.
Amen. End of 2023. I'll take it right now. You can write. You can sign the ink. I will tell you one thing, that no matter how not famous I get, I am grateful to have met you, and you can come on my show any single day, anytime. You will have a direct connect to my heart, and to the producer, whichever one comes first. But it's amazing. I think the world needs Heidi Furman says Joseph Jaffe is famous. Do not jinx this as well. But the world really needs more people like you, Doug, and the ability to spread this kind of, I would say, informed consent, this informed energy. What did you call it? at the end of the day. I got to go back. Look, I want to show you. I want to show you that I started with a blank piece of paper, but no more. I've been scribbling. I've been noting. Haiti says, great show. Thanks. I will try never, ever to go back and look at the show again. I'm just kidding. But I do look forward to coming to Ireland to visit you, or when you come to New York City, please do look me up. There will be 3 people, because remember, we have to have at least 2 different people with 2 opinions. One person is going to be you, Doug. One person is going to be myself. And one person is going to be Chuck Norris.
You are Chuck Norris approved.
There you go. If you want to get hold, I normally end straight after that, but I just want to say the book is not going to be called Make Love, Make Success, Make Life Matter. I hope the book is called Make Success. I can see, in fact, you know what? You want some brainstorming and consulting? You got that one on the house. I can see a big mixing bowl and all the ingredients. You got a chef's hat on. I'm all in on this book. I'm all in on this book. But if you want to follow him, he has a radio show. He has an online course. He's a keynote speaker. He's a coach. He's a consultant. Just go to DougDGordon.com. What does the D stand for?
Donald.
I was going to say it stands for determination or drive. Or you can find out, as I said, more about Douglas Donald Gordon, but also you can connect with him on this very weird LinkedIn URL. You can follow him on Instagram. Check him in the club. Let me tell you, if go put that little, I've never said this before and I will never say it again, but if you see him and you connect with him in Clubhouse, put a little bell, indicate the bell, because you want to make sure that you know when he goes live. He also is on the Twitter. And Doug, I don't think I've done a show beyond 1 hour and 10 minutes, but then again, the first 15 minutes were, shall we say, memorable.
Joseph, it's been an absolute pleasure. You have to come on my show as well. We can promote your book out, and I think there's so much more you can add to the Irish audience as well.
I would love that. They'll probably think I've been drinking Guinness, at least for that interview. I will be back on Monday with Ramon Ray, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, live from Orlando. Doug, truly my best guest yet. But then again, I do say that to everyone else. So see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show, and if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.